Hey YouTube, I wanted to do an unboxing of the R5. I know I'm a little bit late to the game, but we're going to throw in some extras into this unboxing video to kind of show you how we've used an R5 both in our commercial videography work as well as our wedding videography work. I pre-ordered and canceled the R5 3 times. And it's just one of those things where I wanted to wait until people got their hands on it and were able to use it. And then there's firmware updates, and I'm happy to tell you that the R5 is as good of a camera as people say it is, and it's definitely worth getting. And just full disclosure, I had used the camera for a few weeks. Canon let me borrow it, and at the end I was so sold on the camera that I immediately went and ordered another one. And I have a wedding today, so I'm going to unbox it real quickly and set it up for the wedding. So here we go. Here's the instruction manual, which will sit in this plastic wrapping until the day I sell it. To those of you unfamiliar with the R5 battery, it did include the newer upgraded one, the LPE6NH. Your old batteries that look like this will still work, but these have slightly higher capacity, and unlike my other ones, they probably actually hold the charge. So here we have it, the R5. It's got the rotating screen. I'm sure if you're watching this unboxing video, you've heard about this. Here is the R5 next to the 5D Mark IV. It's actually smaller compared to what I'm used to, the 1DX Mark II. So just a note, the first thing you want to do is update the firmware out of the box. I'm not sure what they're shipping with these days, but I believe that they're up to firmware 1.1.1. If you look at the back, right underneath the eye cup, there's a sensor, and the point of the sensor is as you lift it up to your eye, it's going to auto disable the screen. Now, as a photographer, that's nice, because then if your screen is flipped around like this, you're putting it up to your eye, your nose is touching it, you're hitting who knows what. So that sensor deactivates a screen in order to go to the internal eyepiece. Now, the problem with that is that when we're using it on a gimbal, we have a Ronin M. And every time we were using it, when we were kind of like adjusting how we were holding it, we found that the screen kept turning off. Definitely one of the first things you want to do is disable that screen from turning off. As a videographer, it'll make your life so much easier. Out of the box, the menu settings have it so that way you can actually accidentally adjust the shutter less than the frame rate. And so there were some shots that we got at a wedding that we had how it is with these cameras, you do this and that. And so we were actually shooting a few shots that were under the frame rate of the camera, which was causing extreme jitter in the actual final picture. The ergonomics are different on this camera. With the 5D4 and the 1DX Mark II, I can kind of adjust all these things without even looking at the camera. I can, in between shots, I'm just kind of like hitting things, adjusting things. I can't quite do that with the R5. The ergonomics are different. I'm not saying they're bad, they're different. So it is a learning curve. What we're gonna do is we are going to show a couple clips from a couple of shoots we've done with weddings. And I believe we have a couple corporate clips as well. We're just gonna tag those on the end of the video. We're also gonna show the full length of those videos in the description below, just to get you an idea of what these cameras are capable of. Actually having one of these in hand with the newer firmware convinced us that the R5 was a camera that we needed to have in our arsenal. My wife has said multiple times, this coming from the 1DX Mark II, and those of you who are shooting video with the 1DX Mark II know how beautiful the image is on this. So, my wife was grading the R5, and then she had to go back to the 1DX Mark II, because we only had one of these, and she kept saying that the image definitely did not look as good as the R5 image. She was blown away by how much detail was in the R5. She was blown away by the dynamic range and just how clean the image looked. And just an FYI, we were not shooting in HQ mode. I was under the impression that unless you're shooting in HQ mode, your image was going to be garbage because of the way that we sampled down the image down to the 4K. I just want to make a personal plug that this camera is worthwhile having in your arsenal. Replace the 5D Mark IV with this, replace your 1DX Mark II with this. But don't get rid of all the other cameras. It's good to have the 1DX Mark II or the 5D4 as kind of, especially if you're an event wedding videographer, you need something that's going to be able to shoot for long periods of time. When you're getting your highlight stuff, when you're getting your all those really fun shots, highlights, gimbal shots, the R5 is an absolutely solid camera. In the future, we will probably be getting a second R5, if not a third. The R5 so far pairs beautifully with the C300 Mark III, you know, kind of like on gimbal and, you know, for kind of like those harder to get shots, which you need a little bit more of a lightweight camera. Anyway, without further ado, let's show you some clips. Let us know your comments, thoughts, and thanks so much for watching.